The recipient of the Engineering Medal for Management is Dave Crocker.
I'm Dave Crocker. I'm the Vice President Global Engineering Technology for General Dynamics Land Systems. Graduated from the University of Western Ontario in 1986. I started work with the Lincoln Electric Company of Canada in Toronto as a welding engineer, and I always wanted to get into the design aspect of engineering. In '89, I was able to come back to London, where my wife and I always wanted to make our permanent home, and started out as a welding engineer with General Motors. My career has taken me around the world. I've had assignments in Australia, in the UK, in the US, varying roles and responsibilities. And then in 2015, our president asked me to take on the Vice President of Engineering role, which I continue to have today. I was born just south of here in St. Thomas, and really was always into building things, tearing things apart. But when I really knew I wanted to be an engineer, a friend of our family had a bulldozer. He had to rebuild the machine and literally tore it down, every bolt, every nut, every washer, all the hoses off, and then put it back together. And credit to him, he made time for me and explained what the pieces were, what a spool valve was, how it worked, how it controlled the hydraulic flow. And from there, that was it. I knew that I wanted to go and make cool things like that. Time and weight are probably the biggest two challenges that we always face, whether that's in the defense side of our activities here or the locomotive side that I did before. You know, it's amazing, you're working on a locomotive that's 420,000 pounds, and yet every pound matters. And likewise now every pound in an LAV could be a pound that we put in additional armor or additional fuel or additional crew equipment, and just we battle weight and we battle time on every single project we deal with. I have both formal and informal mentorships, and it really becomes, I think, a key part of us growing that next group of leaders. And a lot of that goes back to really my first mentor as an engineer. Anytime I had a technical problem, we'd go on, I'd sit him, and he'd be so excited and his eyes would get bigger, and let's go have a cup of tea. And we'd go have a cup of tea and we'd sit down and we start to draw the three-body diagram of the problem, and he just enjoyed having that learning experience, that teacher aspect of training that young engineer and bringing them up through the ranks. Biggest activity, I'll call it that versus a project, was in 2009, 2010. The Canadian Army and the US Army, and of course those of our allies around the world, were engaged in Afghanistan and Iraq. The Taliban was targeting our vehicles, and all of our customers virtually at the same time came back and asked for help in improving the survivability of those vehicles. And we had to double our team. We grew from 350 to over 600 in a matter of months. We developed survivability solutions over weekends to rush them into theater to protect the vehicles, and at the same time took an effort to redesign the core basis of the vehicle and came up with what we call the double V hull, which really revolutionized the ability for the light armored vehicle to provide exceptional mine blast performance and IED protection for the vehicles that they have now in the LAV-6 and the U.S. has in their Stryker vehicles. One thing that really motivates me and the team here at Land Systems is we make an armored fighting vehicle that those that volunteer for our country work in every day and go and do the things that they're asked to do by the government. And we really want to make sure that they have an unfair advantage when it comes to what they go do, and that the platform is really relevant for everything that they need to see. And that's very different than if we're making widgets for a chair, and really allows our teams to rally around what they do for a living. So the future of engineering, I think, is very bright. We have openings today for over 100 engineers, and I only see that growing. So the demand's going to be there. The jobs are going to be rewarding. The technology is only going to change and improve, and that's only going to lead to better lives for all of us.
In supporting the delivery of next-generation solutions for the defense industry across the globe, Dave Crocker is a worthy recipient of the Engineering Medal in the Management category.
you.